Earlier today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump looked at the assembled cameras and asked for me personally to say, "Mr. President, can you do us the honor of protecting our city?" Instead, I say, "Mr. President, do not come to Chicago." You are neither wanted here nor needed here.
President Donald Trump once again turned his focus on Chicago, calling the city out of control and threatening to send in federal troops. Speaking from the White House, Trump criticized Democratic leaders for what he called a failure to maintain law and order. He said federal action may be necessary to stop violence and crime in major American cities. Chicago, in Trump's words, had become the prime example of chaos. The president warned he was prepared to take matters into his own hands if local officials didn't act quickly.
I hate to barge in on a city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians and bad politicians, like a guy like Pritzker. He had to spend more time in the gym, actually. This guy is a disaster. Gavin Newsom's a disaster. When we went, we saved Los Angeles. You wouldn't have been able to have the Olympics in Los Angeles. You're barely able to have it now. They did lose 25,000 houses to a fire that should have never occurred because they didn't let the water come down from the Pacific Northwest, which you guys don't want to write about. I had to break into the water supply to let the water down. And even now, we want more. We can have much more. It's less than half of what should be coming in.
Illinois Governor JB Pritzker wasted no time firing back at the president. Standing firm, he warned Trump to stay out of Chicago and not send in troops. Pritzker said Illinois doesn't need what he called an occupying army in our communities. He accused Trump of trying to score political points instead of offering real solutions. The governor made it clear federal intervention would not be welcome in his state. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson also stood his ground, joining Pritzker in opposition. He issued a direct warning to the White House saying, "Keep your troops out of Chicago." Lightfoot argued that federal forces would only increase tensions, not reduce them. The mayor insisted that Chicago police and community leaders could handle the situation. He added that Chicagoans don't need outside interference to solve local problems.
Earlier today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump looked at the assembled cameras and asked for me personally to say, "Mr. President, can you do us the honor of protecting our city?" Instead, I say, "Mr. President, do not come to Chicago." You are neither wanted here nor needed here. Your remarks about this effort over the last several weeks have betrayed a continuing slip in your mental faculties and are not fit for the auspicious office that you occupy. Most alarming, you seem to lack any appropriate concern as our commander-in-chief for the members of the military that you would so callously deploy as pawns in your ever more alarming grabs for power.
President Trump doubled down, claiming Chicago's leaders had lost control of their own city. He argued that federal officers were necessary to bring back safety and security. Trump's message was clear. If local Democrats won't do the job, Washington will. He portrayed himself as the only leader willing to restore law and order. Critics, however, said the president was using Chicago to boost his political campaign.
I don't like going to a town, city, place, a state, and then be criticized by some corrupt or incompetent governor where crime is rampant. Like, take a look at D.C. Crime was rampant. It was at the all-time worst. It got really bad during the Biden 4 years. And then I have a mayor stand up and say how crime has reached a 30-year low. 30-year low. People are being killed left and right. And it's not a 30-year low. Think of it. So for 11 days, there's been no murders. The record goes back years where that's happened. They haven't seen that happen in years. And then people stand up and instead of thanking us, which they should do.
Governor Pritzker strongly rejected Trump's claims. He said the president was not interested in solving Chicago's problems, only in exploiting them. Pritzker accused Trump of using the city as a political punching bag to rally his base. The governor argued that true solutions require investments in jobs, schools, and healthcare. Troops won't fix violence, Pritzker said, but opportunity and reform might.
So in case there was any doubt as to the motivation behind Trump's military occupations, take note. 13 of the top 20 cities in homicide rate have Republican governors. None of these cities is Chicago.
As the mayor of this city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for a military occupation. They are calling for the same thing that we've been calling for some time, and that's investment.
It's possible that deploying members of the U.S. military against Americans could be the most egregious violation yet. It is immoral and it is dangerous. And we will use every legal tool to fight any unlawful deployment of the military against our American citizens in the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois.
Tensions grew as federal agents were already deployed in Portland, Oregon. Images of agents in camouflage clashing with protesters spread across social media. Many feared Chicago could soon face the same scenes if Trump followed through. Civil rights groups warned that federal troops could inflame anger instead of calming it. The concern was simple: would outside forces make things safer or even more dangerous?
At his cabinet meeting today, the president again weighed in on sending troops into American cities.
I'm willing to go to Chicago, which is big trouble, but we have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems, huge problems. Baltimore, Wes Moore was telling me I want to walk with the president. Well, I said, I want to walk with you too someday, but first you got to clean up your crime. I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole.
Governor Pritzker repeated his call for a different kind of response. He urged Washington to focus on economic recovery, healthcare access, and education. According to Pritzker, sending in troops was nothing more than political theatre. He insisted Illinoisans needed support, not intimidation.
We need healing, not soldiers on our streets,
Said. Despite warnings from local leaders, Trump announced a plan called Operation Legend. The program sent federal agents into Chicago and other cities to assist local police. The White House claimed the move was meant to fight violent crime, but critics argued it was federal overreach, undermining local authority. Pritzker said it was exactly the kind of intrusion he had warned against.
He mentioned your name several times, blamed you for crime in Chicago, said this is all your fault. Your response to that?
Well, appreciate his recognizing that Chicago actually has had a drop in crime, significantly, in fact, in half in the last 4 years. And we've had a murder rate that's dropped by 37% just in the last year. We're very pleased about the progress that we're making. I know that I live rent-free in the president's head, and I wish he would spend...
What do you do if the National Guard is activated and comes here? Can you take preemptive action? What happens?
Look, first thing we're going to do is take him to court because it's illegal, it's unconstitutional. Frankly, it's un-American to send troops into an American city.
Community activists in Chicago spoke out as well. They said outside troops would only escalate violence and distrust. Protesters argued that real change must come from within the community, not from Washington. Some feared a repeat of Portland, where clashes between agents and protesters spiraled. Their message was simple: more guns and more troops won't bring peace. Governor Pritzker remained defiant throughout the standoff. He said Illinois would not bow to federal intimidation. He promised to protect the rights of his residents and resist what he called Trump's heavy-handed tactics. Pritzker framed the fight as a battle for local independence. Illinois can handle its own problems, he declared.
You know, if the reporting is actually true, what he is proposing at this point would be the most flagrant violation of our Constitution in the 21st century. The city of Chicago does not need a military occupation. That's not what we need. In fact, we've been very clear about what we need. We need to invest in people to ensure that we can build safe and affordable communities. That's what I've done as mayor since assuming office. It's unfortunate that this president is working overtime to divide in his attempt to conquer working families and to conquer cities across America.
The showdown between Trump and Pritzker became symbolic of two Americas. One side demanding federal crackdowns and military-style solutions. The other side calling for local control, reform, and long-term investment. The clash wasn't just about Chicago. It was about the future of American leadership. And for many, it raised the question, what really makes a city safe?
Thank you for watching. Comment down your thoughts on all these acts in the country. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and share it, and subscribe to our channel.